The date is April 2nd, 1995, and the Hartford Civic Center is electric with anticipation. A crowd of over 15,000 fans roars, their eyes glued to the squared circle. WrestleMania 11 is in full swing, but the night belongs to one man, Bam Bam Bigelow. His imposing figure stands tall, his head adorned with his trademark flames tattooed into his scalp, as he prepares for his battle against the football legend, Lawrence Taylor. The sheer spectacle of the match is palpable, as two worlds collide in one of the most memorable main events in WrestleMania history. For at the peak of his career, Bam Bam Bigelow stood as a colossus in the wrestling world. His rivalry with Lawrence Taylor not only captivated audiences, but also elevated the WWF to new heights, showcasing the incredible versatility and appeal of professional wrestling. Despite his imposing 6'4", 390-pound frame, Bigelow's agility was extraordinary. He effortlessly executed cartwheels, forward rolls, and dropkicks, showcasing an unparalleled blend of size and athleticism. But there was also a darker side to his stardom, as injuries, substance abuse, and personal demons all haunted him. Today we explore the wild, true-life story of a WWF icon. Scott Charles Bigelow was born on September 1, 1961, in Asbury Park, New Jersey. From an early age, Scott was no ordinary child. He possessed an immense size and athletic ability that set him apart from his peers. Though he did not graduate, Bigelow earned varsity letters in both football and wrestling. During his sophomore year, he placed third in the 1979 New Jersey State Wrestling Tournament. Unfortunately, a cyst in his lower back sidelined him for his senior season. In his late teens, Bigelow was drawn to competing in arm wrestling tournaments. He also had his hand in a variety of extracurricular activities, as he faced multiple arrests for offenses such as aggravated assault, attempted kidnapping, criminal restraint, drug possession, robbery, and sexual assault. As a teenager, he spent 9 months at the Albert C. Wagner Youth Correctional Facility. After dropping out of high school, Bigelow held a variety of jobs, including bodyguard, bouncer, and bounty hunter. He claimed that during his time as a bounty hunter in Mexico, he was shot in the back by a fugitive and subsequently imprisoned for 6 months in Mexico City. Upon his release from prison, Bigelow decided to pursue a career in professional wrestling, concluding that there wasn't much else I was qualified for. In May 1985, Bigelow began his training at Larry Sharp's Monster Factory Wrestling School in Clementon, New Jersey. He made his professional wrestling debut on August 23, 1985, at a show promoted by Paul Heyman, held at the iconic Studio 54 nightclub. In mid-1986, Bigelow started wrestling for the Memphis, Tennessee-based Continental Wrestling Association, adopting the ring name Bam Bam Bigelow. He was quickly established as a monster, frequently competing in handicap matches and often being disqualified for illegally jumping off the top rope. On July 28, 1986, Bigelow ascended to the pinnacle of wrestling glory, clinching his inaugural Southern Heavyweight Championship in a dramatic battle royal. However, his reign was short-lived, as he fell to Jerry Lawler in a grueling Texas death match on September 8, 1986. After this setback, Bigelow took a hiatus from the CWA, only to re-emerge months later to forge a dynamic tag team with Lawler and ignite a fierce rivalry with Austin Idol and Tommy Rich. In late 1986, Bigelow embraced a new persona as Crusher Yurkov, a formidable Russian character, while wrestling for the Texas-based World Class Championship Wrestling. During this tenure, he even managed to capture the WCWA Television Championship, and this earned him the title of Rookie of the Year for 1986, as voted by the readers of the Wrestling Observer newsletter. Starting in January 1987, Bigelow embarked on extensive tours of Japan with New Japan Pro Wrestling, where he performed under the ring name Crusher Bam Bam Bigelow. Bigelow made his debut in the World Wrestling Federation in May 1987. He initially spent several months competing in dark matches and house shows before making his first televised appearance. Bigelow was soon thrust into a storyline known as The Battle for Bam Bam, where prominent heel managers like Jimmy Hart, Johnny Valiant, Mr. Fuji, and Bobby Heenan competed to secure him as their client. The saga reached its climax in September 1987, when Bigelow revealed Oliver Humperdinck as his manager, solidifying his status as a face. In September and October 1987, Bigelow triumphed in a series of battle royals. He made his pay-per-view debut at the inaugural Survivor Series, where he teamed up with Don Muraco, Hulk Hogan, Ken Patera, and Paul Orndorff, ultimately falling short against Andre the Giant, King Kong Bundy, Butch Reed, One Man Gang, and Rick Rude. In January 1988, Bigelow began a rivalry with Ted DiBiase, frequently teaming with Hulk Hogan to battle DiBiase and Andre the Giant. 5 months later, in June 1988, Bigelow suffered a loss to Andre the Giant at Madison Square Garden. Bret Hart later commented that Andre had practically killed him by working stiff, a result of the tension between them. After the bout, Bigelow immediately went to the locker room, gathered his belongings, and exited the Garden. He departed from the WWF in July 1988 due to a combination of knee injuries and growing resentment from other roster members over the push he had received despite being a rookie. Bigelow made his debut in Jim Crockett Promotions in September 1988, just before its rebranding as World Championship Wrestling. Continuing his association with manager Oliver Humperdinck, who also joined the promotion, Bigelow swiftly ignited a feud with the Four Horsemen. In November 1988, he contested Ric Flair, the leader of the Four Horsemen, for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship in a dark match at the Charlotte Coliseum, but was unsuccessful. By 1990, Bigelow primarily competed on house shows and made occasional appearances on NWA Power Hour and NWA Main Event. He soon aligned himself with the notorious Sullivan's Slaughterhouse stable, alongside Kevin Sullivan and Cactus Jack. At the Capital Combat pay-per-view in May 1990, Bigelow teamed with Sullivan and Cactus Jack, but they were defeated by Norman the Lunatic and the Road Warriors. In 1992, Bigelow started competing in Mexico for the Universal Wrestling Association, focusing primarily on six-man tag team matches. He frequently partnered with Andre the Giant, with whom he had reconciled after their 1988 confrontation. Bigelow then rejoined the WWF in October 1992, securing a string of victories on WWF Superstars and Wrestling Challenge. He marked his pay-per-view comeback in January 1993 with a decisive win over Big Boss Man at the Royal Rumble. At the King of the Ring pay-per-view on June 13th, Bigelow emerged victorious over Jim Duggan in the quarterfinals and received a bye in the semi-finals. However, he was defeated by Bret Hart in the tournament final, in what was his third appearance in a pay-per-view main event. In the ensuing year, Bigelow engaged in a diverse array of storylines, including a notable role as one of several nefarious wrestlers who intervened in World Heavyweight Champion Yokozuna's defense against The Undertaker, aiding Yokozuna in retaining his title. On the June 27, 1994, episode of Monday Night Raw, Bigelow severed his association with Luna Vachon, shortly after which Ted DiBiase revealed that he had acquired Bigelow's contract. Consequently, Bigelow joined DiBiase's newly formed $1 Million Corporation, and this kicked off an eventful year for Bigelow, culminating at Survivor Series with Bigelow's $1 Million team winning out over Guts and Glory. But the best was still yet to come for Bam Bam. The World Wrestling Federation sought to generate buzz for WrestleMania 11 by enlisting former New York Giants All-Pro linebacker Lawrence Taylor. When Taylor agreed to compete, Bigelow was chosen as his opponent. The storyline began with Taylor being introduced at the Royal Rumble, where he was seated ringside. Following Bigelow's defeat by the 1-2-3 Kid, he became incensed upon seeing Taylor laughing. When Bigelow confronted Taylor at ringside, Taylor extended a handshake, but Bigelow responded by shoving him to the ground. On the subsequent episode of Monday Night Raw, Bigelow was temporarily suspended. During an interview with Vince McMahon, Bigelow refused to apologize, instead challenging Taylor to a match anytime, any place. Although Taylor initially declined, he accepted the challenge on February 27, 1995, during the WrestleMania 11 press conference after enduring repeated insults from Bigelow. And on April 2, 1995, Taylor defeated Bigelow in the main event. The storyline attracted considerable media attention, with coverage from Sports Illustrated, SportsCenter, and USA Today. Bigelow was widely praised for his role in guiding the inexperienced Taylor through the match. But by the end of 1995, Bigelow had become disillusioned with Vince McMahon and the direction of the WWF. and he made his last appearance in the Federation on November 19, 1995, at Survivor Series, where he was defeated by the recently debuted Goldust. The next 10 years for Bam Bam would be filled with appearances at various promotions, including WCW and ECW. Sadly, though, his career fell into a steady decline. This can likely be attributed to the fact that Bigelow was battling a severe addiction to OxyContin. Eventually, his health declined significantly, leading him to rely on Social Security disability benefits. He grappled with a range of ailments, including atherosclerosis, diabetes, and a persistent infection. Additionally, chronic back problems, exacerbated by multiple surgeries, had resulted in a loss of 2 inches in height. This all came to a head on the morning of January 19, 2007, when Bigelow was discovered deceased by his girlfriend in their Hudson, Florida home at just 45 years old. The autopsy revealed that his death resulted from a combination of drugs, including lethal levels of cocaine and benzodiazepines, with atherosclerosis also playing a contributing role. The Pasco Pinellas medical examiner determined his death to be an accident. Despite this tragedy, Bam Bam Bigelow's legacy lives on. He was more than just a wrestler, he was a trailblazer, a performer who broke boundaries and defied expectations. As we look back on the life and career of Bam Bam Bigelow, we celebrate a man who gave his everything to entertain and to inspire. His flame may have burned out too soon, but the impact he left on the world of professional wrestling will never be forgotten. May he rest in peace.